All right, hello, welcome everyone, welcome everybody to today's trading London Open Silver Bullet for Thursday, May 14, 2026. So this is kind of how it looks like for today. This is the threshold that we are starting with, 49k382 and a half. Welcome Money Glitch, hello, welcome to the party. I hope you slept well today, and we are going to start the session here, or the pre-analysis. And yeah, so let me take a quick look at the 15-minute chart to get a grand picture. Yesterday, what price did yesterday? The London rallied up. Seika set an initial high of the day, then cleared out the sell side. And dropped into some measure of discount. That's a daily bullish fair value gap consecutive encroachment, was the low of this during the silver bullet for 10 to 11. And then price rallied for the new all-time highs, clearing the buy side, and now we are here going into Thursday's trading. So again, for today, we have some 8:30 news, not this one actually, this one, core retail sales at 8:30 today. So similar profile to what we've seen yesterday with the news events, and it's Thursday, so likely a reversal day. I still think that we might see some capitulation, extrapolation to the upside before any more meaningful reversal would even be considered from the daily chart perspective, right? That makes kind of the most sense. Yes, it's also pushing quite nicely. So I assume that you nailed it yesterday, Mr. Money Glitch. I hope you did. I hope you did well. And yeah, that's kind of like the framework that we have right now. We are in between this high for the buy side liquidity, this low for the sell side liquidity, and the end dock is like the discount array or and or potential draw for this particular session. We can see that ES made a higher high already here, while Nasdaq did not. So that's something worth mention here, I assume. Yeah, Nasdaq was not able to match this high. Nasdaq potentially weaker, ES potentially stronger. All right, so that's an insight I will take. Yes, these are relatively cool lows too, and the end dock new day opening up, and these relatively cool lows too. So right away thinking that, or taking the fact that we reached the premium of this range in here, we see SMT divergence on the highs, Mr. Nasdaq not matching the let me do this correct, not matching the, yeah, these I see them. So this is like premium OTE for shorts area in here. Okay, we have this busy at 145, but that shouldn't offer too much support, if at all, unless it's worth to be annotated. And this is kind of like the lay of the land in here. Let me check like a 10-minute chart. 10-minute chart, we have a nice inefficiency right there. Nice little inefficiency right there. That's premium fair value gap inside of premium of this range in here. So that's like an area where we could see some measure of rejection though, and taking into consideration this low as the sell side. Right, so because ES took the buy side on its own, I would say that if I would ever consider any short idea, I'm not saying that I will, but right now it's potentially more favorable for that. Potentially, the Nasdaq seems to be the weaker one, and also this sell side here from the PM session, that's Omega clean, and price was basically going up only too. So we'll see though, we'll see. Still good 5 minutes until the silver bullet will start. And yeah, I don't want to have like huge or big expectations about this one, as we do have the news event at 8:30, so that's always kind of making the 10 to 11 potentially better in my opinion. But if this can offer a reasonable small little scalp that would offer 1 to 2 and would be in lines of this of the model, then why not to take it, right? But the risk for today is 250, no more, no less. I mean, less is okay, but no more, preferably. And yeah, let me check the dollar index. The dollar index though took the buy side liquidity here very politely, and now in a slight decline. It has an efficiency, a bullish inefficiency right there, and it just have taken relative equal lows in here. So maybe that could offer some bounce higher and potential attempt to run deeper into this buy side here. So right now it's weak, but I'm assuming that it could maybe offer some rejection here to the upside, because it took sell side already. Yep. Okay, so let's drop to the 5 minute and 1 minute soon, and having all of those levels in mind as potential premium and discount areas. We'll see what we get though. on 1 minute the sell side looks really juicy in here, especially those lows above the end hook here, very juicy. This here. But so far we are kinda engineering relative equal highs at the same time, just underneath that premium fair value gap on the 10-minute chart. So I wonder if we could poke up into it and then reject. If that would be the case, then it really sets up a nice probability for this particular session to deliver lower than. At this moment it's kind of difficult for me to look for the longs. I think with what we got so far, so I guess I'm sticking to the idea that we could see some measure of pullback here or weakness, but that's not to be forced right now on the marketplace. That's something that I'm gonna study, whether it has any validity or not, and we'll see. So for now, like tape reading, I don't have a setup at the open of the gate today. Perfect relative equal lows in here, but also relative equal highs. We're kind of in a consolidation, meaning I have to wait for some measure of displacement first. I will annotate the start of the silver bullet hour and the end of it for my model here. And yep. All right, so that's how the dollar index looks like. It took the sell side here, nice relative equal lows, and it potentially it put in place a breaker. So potentially maybe it could see some lift going into the 3 AM in here. We'll see how it goes, and that could put an additional pressure on the Nasdaq. And yes, perfect relative equal highs at the old buy side. So far watching only, and we'll see what we got really. I don't have like a very clean idea where it wants to go at this moment. Alrighty, so 3 AM silver bullet starts. Yet, because I don't have a draw on liquidity, I don't have an setup right now by any means. We tapped into this 15-minute BC so far, price rejecting already. Also took pull of relative equal lows like this. That's potentially bullish. That could be bullish if it could be sending it higher from here. Relative equal highs above that and that premium array. So I'm very curious to see how price will trade around that. If it rejects the price nicely, then it really sets up a stage for run lower, but if we go above it, it could act as inversion and send it altogether higher. So yeah, kind of tricky. London Open so far, but yeah, it is what it is. Not too chubby, not too chubby. Yep, so far we are still kind of part of this consolidation in here. The bodies didn't really move outside of it by any means. So we are basically on hold. The dollar still potentially looking for the reaction higher here. Yeah, same the ES. It's basically holding at the all-time highs, exactly at the all-time highs. Fishing around here. Yeah, kinda tricky area to be in. But unless it shows me something that's really like solid, that's really like clean with this placement, then I don't think I have a business pushing this London Open session though. But yeah, let's see. It's still early into the hour. Something may clarify itself along the way. Let me annotate this weak consecutive encroachment, or actually let me annotate it all together like this. So that's like a discount week that was formed after price took relative equal lows and traded into the upper half of the busy. So if this asset in here was any bullish, I would like to see a reaction in here to the upside. It didn't so far. It actually went below it already, and now let's see how it will close. Actually, it closed slightly but below the consecutive encroachment, so this already kinda is very suspect for the bulls, for the bullishness in here, near term at least. We made a deeper dive into that 15-minute busy so far, so let's see how it goes. Yeah, going below it would be something that would be bearish, right? At this moment it's still like 50-50. We could react off of it higher into this premium. We left the relative equal highs, so nothing in here that I like necessarily. As for the draw on liquidity, all right, second candle closed below the consecutive encroachment of this week. Didn't quite close below the week yet, but that's showing kinda weakness, potential weakness so far. ES sweeping its buy side in here politely too. All the sell side is below those radical lows. And this busy. It's kind of interesting. Let's annotate this on the ES chart, because this is the last fair value gap before running the buy side here. That could turn into an inversion fair value gap, potentially. So let's watch. Alright, price is kind of failing to reach the midpoint of this wick again, so I will annotate it as potential inversion in here. It definitely looks weak around here, not gonna lie. Now tapping into the lower half of that 15-minute busy. And we'll see how we work there, but so far everything is giving me that weak bearish type of vibe out of what we see. But because it's all-time highs, because it's kind of like smooth steel, it could, it's kind of iffy, right? But that's fine. If I don't see anything like that's anyhow clean, or that makes like a very good sense for me, I'm not going to, or I shouldn't be jumping on it just because it moves. So one PM candle formed upside without wick forming on ES, but what time frame? 1 minute. One hour. Ah, you mean this? Okay, this imbalance. Yeah, that's yeah, that's basically around here on the 15-minute. All right, so dollar index is showing this initial rejection higher here, which is applying the pressure on the indices to move lower. The end hook is like a no-brainer, draw liquidity in here, and the sell side inside of it is like a bonus. But yet we left the relative equal highs, and the drop is kind of like, it's happening, but it's not like very like large candles. A lot of wicks on both sides, so that's kind of sus. So anyway, any rally from here, if we could see any at all, would be kind of suspect for me. And I would be looking for potential fade on that. But let's see. ES tapping to its own 15-minute fair value gap, but the problem with ES is that look how clean and smooth the buy side in here was left, right? So this busy here could still offer like a chance to go higher, potentially. Like this is too smooth, and if that's the case on ES, and ES is potentially going higher and Nasdaq is potentially going lower based on the analysis here, that's not necessarily high probability, because they should agree, and Nasdaq also has those smooth equal highs here too, so that's also kind of suspect, right? The fact that it's trading deeper into this busy, the fact that it's already like took those relative equal lows and failed to really offer any strength at all, that's very suspect. That's kind of weak overall. But if ES is gonna attack the buy side here, which it definitely might, because that's like 5 handles or less from where we are in here, then this could also see some measure of upside in here. Right now we are trading to this week, which was a discount week, but now we went below it, so it can work as potential premium week in here. So I'm watching how the price will trade around this, but nonetheless, any rally from where it is in here, if it takes the buy side here, that could maybe set up a potential rollover later. But I'm not trusting this that much at this moment, that it's bullish or anything like that. But the ES definitely looks stronger and looks more prompt to run the buy side. That's also all-time highs, right? So there is kind of like no limit, kinda. It's like a no man's land. So it could go like 10 handles above it, but it could go like 50 or 100 handles above it, right? Because there is nothing else besides this buy side on the upside. So that's kind of like the tricky part. The dollar index, though, it's nicely delivering higher here off of that sell side, which should apply the pressure on the indices. And that's not necessary. I mean, initial pressure, sure, but that's not necessarily what we are seeing right now. So yeah. Why am I'm not even opening that one. I'm not even watching that one. But yeah, usually it's pretty poor. Note how the bodies are respecting the consecutive encroachment on this week here. That's some premium sensitivity initially in here. So if it's kind of like really weak, really bearish in here, it would be rolling over off of this in the next minute or two. If it doesn't, then yeah, I can imagine that we could clear the buy set here on Nasdaq, and that could be like a sympathy run with the buy set being run out on the ES. But yeah, with dollar going higher like this, that's also not something I necessarily like. But yeah, we closed above it here. So unless it goes below it again, I'm watching whether we can bulk up some strength to reach up into this premium here again. But I will look at this rally, this whole run up. I'm looking as a suspect rally. I'm looking at this as something that could fail. I mean, that might fail eventually in the future and roll over below it. How far higher will it trade first? I'm not necessarily sure at the moment, but well. So there was a strong rally in the gold. I'm not really following that market like on the daily basis, so not sure what happened there. But yeah, sometimes you miss. But gym and health is more important. So W for you, money glitch. And yeah, good luck, Sirvin Kumar. Good luck with your idea. I'm still not sure what it's trying to do in here. So far, yeah, kind of iffy for me, but still 40 minutes to go. And if it shows more clarity, that could be a decent session though. But yeah, so far I don't have it. I don't see it. Wow, 15 kgs. That's a lot, bro. That's a lot. So well done, man. Well done. Keep grinding though. Nice. I wonder what was the upper threshold. What was the starting point? But 15 kgs is still a lot. Fair enough, Sirvik Kumar. Fair enough, and thank you. We'll see. We'll see how it goes today. And yep. I don't like how much time it spends like this in here around this week. Weeks are gaps, so same as that would be a fair value gap, let's say. I wouldn't like to see price spending like that much time already. This is somewhat like a red flag for me in here, but let's see. There's no inefficiency in here on 5 minute or anything like that. There is this up candle, a potential bearish order block on 5 minute right there that was already traded into and price sold off. So I would keep in mind this level here, but besides that, there's only this potential inversion for value gap that caught my eye, that we are trading up into here politely right now, and that's kind of like the business. But yeah, it's kind of getting slow in here. Also, yes, it's kind of slow too. Not much at all happened so far. We traded outside of that 50-minute busy, and now trading back into it. So I wonder if you can see any discount sensitivity in the upper half. But yeah, so far it's pretty damn slow. But again, slow London shouldn't be an issue after all, because usually when the London is slow, then the morning session is more volatile and like cleaner. Not always, but as a rule of thumb, that's something that I like to expect. But yep. So I'm watching if price can now pick up some speed in here and take this short-term high. If it does, that would be constructive for potential run on the buy side there. But yeah, it's still very iffy. We will be approaching the 330 London session macro kind of. Maybe not macro, but that's an important time for the London Open Silver Bullet that usually, not always, but usually starts some measure of a run. And yeah, with all of this right now, it's sloppy, it's kind of sus, but right now I'm watching if it can bulk up for a run into the buy side here. It's not respecting this consecutive encroachment as premium. It's spending a lot of time in here, so that's not necessarily what I want to see. But if we can be moving outside of this little range in here soon, like this candle and next candle, then that would be potentially constructive for seeing it trade higher, basically. ES is almost not moving, so that's about it. Yeah, so now we moved outside of this week on a closing basis. So I'm watching and thinking whether we can see any support being offered at the upper half, combined with the high of that 15-minute BC. But what I'm looking for is like a touch and go type of scenario, if it has any validity to it. Thanks for letting me know, mate. Thanks for letting me know. And all I can say is I wish you good luck with it. But yeah. Me personally, I see kind of weakness inside of in this market. I see the weakness in it. So that's already kind of setting my expectation for later today even. But the weakness, the bearishness might come into play. But there isn't necessarily like something very obvious right now that's like screaming to take it. Therefore, yeah, I mean, some sessions, I guess, are meant to be skipped. And yes, there is this red folder news at 8:30 that I'm also aware of, and that's what kind of like keeps the markets locked many times, and the price runs are many times reserved for that time or after it, and it's rather rare. It's rather rare, not impossible, but very rare, that the moves, that the very clean moves are happening ahead of those news, like we have today. But yeah, by the way, have you guys noticed yesterday's session, the relatively cool lows that I was like very like interested in for the London Open? They were actually used after the PPI hit the marketplace. So the level itself was really clean, right? It was really good. But the news event, in my opinion, might be wrong, but in my opinion, the news event was making the difference why it failed during the London, because it was not the time for it to deliver that run, and it was reserved for the news. So today it's not as clean as yesterday. I thought it was. It's spending so much time inside of this week that I'm already like almost certain that I will not do anything with it. But yet, let's watch it, what it does and how it does, and take this session just as insight for the next one to come. And thanks, appreciated. I appreciate the kind words. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. All right, so we do have some spike in here higher. That's fair. That's expected with those relative equal highs. Not the cleanest, yet it spiked higher there. Let's see the ES. It's working its way towards the bicep here. That's omega clean too. So I assume that's where it's gonna go. But again, that's so close to this range in here that I cannot trade this when it's like 3 handles range to the objective. That's not something I want to do. The dollar index now spiked lower, which makes sense why we saw that spike higher on the indices. But nonetheless, that unlocks a potential for a run higher here, in my opinion. Welcome Neko Basu-san. Yeah. They have the bank holiday today, which might be a measure of like a factor why the long session would additionally be less volatile or more stagnate. That's like a fair enough expectation, I would say. And yeah, so far that's kind of what we are seeing, I think. So this one is more to get like some insight about the price delivery itself. And so far what I have seen from this London Open session, Silver Bullet, I can tell that the Nasdaq is definitely showing some weakness in comparison to ES, obviously. And the sell side in here, that's around the new day opening gap, and this low that we also placed here at 312. This is suspect sell side liquidity for me. And I look at this rally up in here as a suspect rally that may eventually, after it turns, clear out this low and reach into the NDOC. Obviously that's assuming a lot, but that's kind of like the vibe that it gives me. So I will even annotate this as suspect low to keep myself with that expectation that there is something to it that's suspect though. All right. It can even take out the all-time highs in here. I don't mind. It might do it, but after it eventually will start turning, that low is suspect though. Yeah, so ES is also in striking distance to clear up the bicep here. And the dollar trading a little bit softer. But Nasdaq, even though it tries, it's having really hard time to bulk up for the buy-side liquidity up there. So it's kinda it is what it is. But since the 3 a.m. open, we are basically at the same price that we opened the Silver Bullet with, or very close to it. And a lot of this back and forth sloppier price action like this, that's not necessarily, I mean, these are already like hints that this session isn't necessarily the cleanest and ideal. But yeah, I'm still watching potential run towards the buy side here. With all of the structure that we've seen, I would like to see like a quick run for it, like a quick pop higher into the buy side on the Nasdaq. And this fair value gap at 332 should stay open if this is like still a good idea. This should stay open. If this is getting closed, then it's really a really poor condition then. But with this open, I could imagine this spiking up and clearing this buy side. That would be reasonable. ES still has to do its job there. Dollar index near term or short term weakness, so that can also be in line and allow that poke above those highs right there. All right, so again, it's spending lots of time, but it's about to move. I mean, it's about time to move. If it's gonna make a run on the buy side here, which at this point seems like the most reasonable expectation, then I would expect it to do it like in the next 1-2 minutes, because we already like spent this much time offering back and forth price action. We left this open, so that's very good. And if you can start breaking higher here, it should like really pick up speed and just clear out the highs, and that should land well with the ES also likely running out its own buy side. So yeah, as it is right now, that's really like it kind of fared out the buy side in here. That's clean in my opinion at this moment. That's kind of obvious, and that's something that I maybe could have considered at some point around here. But yeah, taking into consideration that it already is kind of sloppy, that there is this high impact news at 8:30 later today, that there is this bank holiday too, and overall Nasdaq and ES are kind of tricky in a tricky spot. I mean, ES is making higher highs, Nasdaq isn't matching necessarily those higher highs. So yeah, but I like this little rally in here, and I would love to see it like large candle push through the buy side in here. That would be really ideal. All right, I'm watching this candle here, right there, this little down candle, because this was like an order block in here. This traded into the upper half of it and moved away, so this is like a proportion block. So anytime price would touch this, it should offer like a very strict reaction higher off of that, if it's in fact bullish. There is also a small little fair value gap linked to it, so that all of that bodes well for a run above those highs and into this premium up there. But yeah, that doesn't change the fact that this low later on is kind of suspect for me. So yeah, this is the proportion block, and now it should immediately reject that. So this candle needs to reject it. If it doesn't, then that's already not as bullish. All right, so far I would say so good, and it should now really quickly we start to jump towards the buy side here, like large ranges higher would be reasonable, and that should allow ES to take its own buy side. Yeah, I like this candle here. I like this larger range off of this proportion block. That's exactly what I would look for, and this candle should not give way now. So it should not trade below this candle's low. It should now start expanding higher and clear the buy side out though. So this is the no-go zone at this moment. If it does go there, that makes it very iffy again. All right, this measure of retracement is acceptable, and now this candle a large expansion higher. That's what I'm expecting. If that doesn't happen, then I'm glad that I didn't participated today. All right, so that's already not something I wanted to see here. It doesn't necessarily mean that it can't go or that it won't go above those highs. It still might, but it might require a deeper retracement. which, you know, that already becomes tricky inside of this structure. That's pretty much a consolidation, right? That's what it is at this point. Yes, leaving the buy side for now, but still, that's too smooth. Way too smooth. So this fair value gap at 332. That's now the line in the sand. It shouldn't go below it. If it does, then that's not bullish. If it's respects the upper half of that and start bulking up higher, then I believe we should see the buy side run still. We are also heading into the 350 to 410 macro, so the last macro of this silver bullet hour. Something I'm annotating is this CB here. So what idea I have in mind right now, that sticking with the idea that both can trade higher at this moment, that both have smooth relative equal highs to reach. If price can trade into this BC, this fair value gap here, which it does right now, if it can like jump quickly away from it and not close below it, then this could become a bullish inversion fair value gap. And that would offer a little run into the buy side here, potentially. So I'm watching. We traded into it first here, and we traded to the weak discount week here. We traded to the consecutive encroachment of this BC, and the close was above it. So that's potentially strong. That's potentially strength being shown in here. Then the next candle open up, and we are trading again to the almost the high of this week, and so far falling short of the consecutive encroachment on this BC. So if it could turn around here quickly and start moving higher, then the buy side here is no-brainer. But it has to really, you know, respect the upper half and move away from it. There is the time, so the macro, and the price. So this inefficiency here. So if the draw in here, the smooth relative equal highs is correct, everything is matching right now. The time, price, and the draw, potentially. So this is something that I'm considering taking, to be honest, now. I like the idea a lot. I'm not sure if this will pan out or it won't, but I definitely like the idea. I have some breaks on the fact that yes, we have the newsletter, yes, the ES is kinda consolidated. Yes, the session so far was kind of sloppy, but this in here is really clean, in my opinion. I like the reaction here. It should leave this as it is, and if it does, it should offer a really nice run on the buy side here. So yeah, if it forms a fair value gap here and it trades to it, that might be a long. This, as I said, that could be an inversion fair value gap, and yeah, with this price action so far, if we close above it in a quick way, that's a likely bullish inversion fair value gap. Okay, there is this fair value gap inefficiency here. So let's see. Let me fish. Okay, that's like the risk that I would assume potentially. This fair value gap. And where is the take profit? Because I need to make sure that it's aligning. Something like this. Something like this I would have in mind. That would be reasonable. Okay. Something like this. I'm watching the touch to the high in here. All right, so I was like waiting to see whether it offers any rejection in here at this high to the upper half, assuming that it could maybe around the short-term low, but if it would done it on a week basis only and then come back with the body, that would be an idea that I would look for. But nonetheless, this is already not something I would like to take. So I missed the bullet there. Well, lucky me, I guess. But yeah, that's fine. I would have been stopped out if I entered here. I would have been stopped out, which would be kind of painful after already indicating that this was kind of iffy. But nonetheless, I like the idea in here. I like the idea, and I think if the conditions were better, if maybe there was no news and no bank holiday, I mean no news later, then or maybe if the price was more prompt to be bullish, then this would be like a 100% no-brainer setup that should nail the buy side. But the fact that it's failed here like this, that's already like suggesting some weakness underlyingly. So fair enough. Can it still go up there? Sure, I think yes. But it would need to reclaim this fair value gap first, and then if it holds it, then the manipulation would be done really with this, and it could offer a run higher. But yeah, yes, failed to reach the buy side there, trading some lower. Yeah, it's already too late for me to engage that idea with, or any idea like that with this London Open silver bullet. So yeah. Yeah, the dollar index is now putting some pressure on it too. With near-term run higher, it has relative equal highs that it's likely seeking or gonna seek. So, yep. yeah, I guess that's it for this long open session. I'll be there for the morning, 10 to 11 silver bullet, and we'll see what we got there. But the suspect low that I mentioned earlier is just being tagged. So yeah, looks like that was a better draw, better trade than this ratifical highs, and it delivered nicely here, not gonna lie. Use this as inversion, this for value gap high, I mean low, perfectly, inversion, runs, delivers, that's it. So interesting little bounty in here for the last couple of minutes, but nicely working with that bearish stance that I had on it. It delivered way better than anything on the upside. But yeah, no silver bullet for me for this long open. That's great. Euro is nightmare for me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it does, but if you say so, then I trust you. All right, see you at the 9:50 a.m. New York time, pre-AM session silver bullet. All right, see you there. No trades. You can see that's the balance, same as we started. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and see you later. Bye bye. Ciao.